Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Sincere with whoissincere.com. Coming to you today with a story that's been really hard for me to do. I've been watching a lot of Jade Helm stuff and I'm seeing a lot of misinformation out there as far as what's going on in our country, what's going on in the world right now. There are very few people that are actually getting close to the truth. There's a lot of outlandish stories out there and conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And while I don't, down any of those people, I do understand the need to want to know the truth. We just have to be careful, in how we deliver, our truths to people, especially if they're not fully researched. So, with that being said, I have a truth that I want to deliver. It's fully researched. It's researched because I lived it. Kind of not talked about it for, kind of ever. My name, it's right there on the screen, Sherrod Norman. Sincere is not my middle name, it's just the name everyone calls me. I was in the United States Army from the year of 2000 to 2004 as an information systems analyst. I served under General Abrams of TRADOC, the Training and Doctrine Command. I held a secret security clearance. For some time period, I worked in a top secret environment for a couple different times, actually. The reason why it's hard for me to talk about these things is because, one, I don't want to make a misstep. I don't want to say anything I'm not supposed to say, so let me just put it out there now. Everything that I'm about to say, you can easily find on the internet and you can research it yourself. The reason why no one has said it is because you don't know the terminology to look for. If you don't know the terminology to look for, that severely limits your ability to search for something that you have no idea exists. I do know what to look for because, like I said, I lived in that environment and I know the key words, and soon you will too. We're going to go over that information together. The reason why I'm putting this information out after all of this time is because I've noticed that, like I said, not only the misinformation, but I've noticed what's happening to my fellow brothers and sisters all around me. I have, a few children and, they're by different races, one white, one black, one Spanish. But what I see is, I myself, I love people for who they are, but what I see is a lot of people out here that don't feel the same way. So, yes, before I give you this tremendous information about Jade Helm, I am talking to you a little bit. I'm taking this opportunity to get this off of my chest, and the first 5 minutes of this video, you're just going to have to eat that. I'm sorry. This is how I feel. Slavery has been handed down to us by the elite. Slavery is a system of economics. And that system of economics has trickled down to the very people that use economics on the lower level, which would be the poorest of poor people that have a penny in their hand. Economics, is a system of competition, and slavery and economics go hand in hand when you create race relations with that. So we have an environment that we're living in today that's we have a very toxic environment that's been going on for many years now, and it's nothing new. Racism in our country is it's at an all-time high, and it's probably because of the tensions. It's the media, that's they're delivering propaganda to us every day. I have to say that I know that it's purposeful. I know, why it's being done. I actually understand it. I do not agree with it because as an African American, I don't believe that any of us are, have the threat of being radicalized or becoming terrorists and going in FEMA camps. And I'll leave that at that. But, I'll just say this. Slavery is something that we are all in right now. It, you can take that as you will, but there's a reason why you have a birth certificate and a social security number. You're registered property to a government. Gold is not our backing currency. A lot of people think that gold is our backing currency. I laugh every time I hear that. It's not. Our backing currency is you. It's human lives. Without human lives, the United States has nothing. It doesn't even have the gold that it doesn't own anyway. So at the end of the day, we are all registered property of the government, and we are all property of this economic system that we're enslaved to. And what I want people to understand is race relations have been used by the elite to separate and to divide us. When you get down to it, there's no difference between my white brother, my white sister, my black brother, and my black sister. Not much at all, except for a few cultural differences. Other than that, when we all get together and we don't have racial tension between us, we have a good time. We enjoy each other. We enjoy learning about each other. The man in the woods, the white guy in the woods, he doesn't go to the city and he's never had a pizza or a cheesesteak. The man in the hood, he's never had, moonshine or love from a country girl. So there's a lot we don't understand about each other that once we bring those things together, miraculously people enjoy other cultures and learning about other cultures. But our government and our, this power above us, they've been very effective at promoting racial division amongst us for many, many years. For black people, it's been 400 years, plus. So it's never stopped. Even after MLK and Malcolm got shot, it's never stopped. We're still, Black Lives Matter is the struggle that is continued from MLK and from Malcolm. You guys need to understand that Black Lives Matter is not meant to make any white people feel bad. We love you guys. But our life hasn't been valued as much as your life. And the quicker you can understand that and help us, is the quicker that we can get to unity so that we can fight this beast that we all face. Unity is our challenge, and racism is our enemy, not each other. Unity is our challenge, racism is our enemy, not each other. So that's why I'm doing this video. I want to get a few things off of my chest, and I also want to get this heavy weight that I've had on my chest for a long time. This video is going to be kind of long, so buckle your seatbelts. It's a long ride, and I'm sure after 10 minutes of seeing me in my uniform, you are ready to see what's next. All right. As you see, that's me in my uniform, Fort Gordon, Georgia. I was in the military from 2000 to 2004, as I previously mentioned. You see me there with my highly polished boots, high-speed soldier, ready to go, prepared. Those were good days, good times. I got out of the military a little bit early. I had some complications, but I enjoyed most of my time that I spent in the military, the people that I met there, the job, the jobs that I've done, the environments that I've worked in, and no, I've never been to battle. After 9/11, I worked in the Emergency Operations Center of Fort Monroe. Like I said, I held a secret clearance. Before Google Maps was actually invented, I created something similar to Google Maps that was slightly used after 9/11, just to ensure security for our post and so that the generals could use to actually find out information, is have visual points. And that was something that me and a team that I had pretty much assembled together. They took all the photography for me, pretty much. So, I enjoyed my time in the military. I had many great accomplishments in the military. I did a lot of good stuff in the military, so I have no hard feelings really towards the military or anything like that. That's not the reason why I'm doing this film. The reason why I'm doing this is, like I said, is the reasons that I gave before, is because I want people to understand that we got to break down these barriers of division. We got to get to unity, and not only that, we have to, once we actually break down these barriers, we have a beast that we have to face together, and that's what's being done to us by our government and by our media that's working with our government. So there's a lot of work to be done. This is the guy I worked for. His name is General Abrams. He's a 4-star general. He was a great general. He was the head general of the Training and Doctrine Command. Read you a little excerpt that I have highlighted here in this article called High Profile General Abrams. I'll make sure I leave links for everything that you see. It says, the uniform was a good fit. Now 33 years after raising his right hand, Abrams 52 wears the same 4-star rank held by his legendary father. Just as his father strove to make changes in the post-Vietnam, post-draft Army, restoring a damaged institution's confidence in itself and rebuilding its fighting effectiveness, General John N. Abrams is dedicated to the present-day chores of mending the Army's recruiting woes and molding it into a more nimble and flexible force. Abrams commands the U.S. Army Training and Doctrine Command at Fort Monroe, the third largest of the Army's 15 major commands worldwide. His responsibilities are far-reaching. TRADOC oversees all Army recruiting and basic advancement training, spells out how the Army currently operates and fights, and serves as the test bed for what it will become. That last paragraph is very important in understanding how big the United States Army's Training and Doctrine Command is. Like I said, I was an information systems analyst, Signal Corps. I worked at the Training and Doctrine Command under General Abrams. It wasn't under General Abrams the whole time. I was a part of something called the Directorate of Information Management on Fort Monroe. Pretty much did, kind of general work there. Did some secret work, a few things I won't talk about because I don't know, just to be honest with you, if I'm even allowed to say what they are. I worked there. I did a lot of help desk there. I did a lot of stuff like that and helping people with the computers on posts and rollouts and conventions and stuff like that. And did a lot of that work, but part of the time that I wasn't working in the DOIM, the Directorate of Information Management, I was working in video teleconferencing. And the video teleconferencing that we had on post was for General Abrams most of the time. We had other generals and brass that came through on Fort Monroe that would use the video teleconferencing, but it was pretty much, it was set up for the general. That was his conference room, and he talked to all the TRADOC installations and other installations around the world. A lot of the times we did that under secret conditions or top secret conditions because of, the level of what was being talked about. And you're going to find out some of that stuff today. I am only going to, like I said, say what's in the documents that you will see on the screen, but it will clearly spell out to you where we've been misled along the way as far as what's going on. There's a sector of people in the United States that know exactly what's going on, how we got here, how long it's been planned. This has all been in the making for the last 20 years, more than 20 years. So, General Abrams actually gave me a coin back then. I took this coin. I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I took this coin to the memorial that was placed there for the fallen soldiers. It was definitely it was an emotional time. I can't even lie, but General Abrams did give us a coin at one time, for some good work that we had done. And I think he was supposed to give us another coin, as a matter of fact. And but anyway, that's a different story. But he gave us a coin at one time. And
I also brought out here my when I was given a coin by General Abrams. So I just wanted to come bring that out here in reminder of the troops, the General Training and Doctrine Command that I was part of. Something that's really special to me. Just for
so it is something that's special to me. You know what I mean? Because I got pretty much messed over a couple times, like that little project I was telling you about, as far as kind of like the Google Maps thing for Fort Monroe. That project I didn't receive proper accommodation for. It was given to a staff sergeant that never worked on the project a day in his life. He was just assigned to the area being a new information systems analyst or reclass. And because I was only an E4 at the time and no one felt like I deserved my own area as an E4, they put an E6 there, and then they gave an E6 my accommodation for all the work that me and my team had done. So that's another story. So when he gave me that, it was definitely something that was special to me. I've held it for all these years. Now, let's get to why you're here. Now you understand why I'm doing this video. You understand what kind of person I am. After 17 minutes, if you don't understand who I am and what my intentions are, I can't help you. But my intentions are pure. I'm a good person. I'm not, trying to cause any kind of trouble or trauma, but I do want this information to be out. I want to go ahead and get it off my chest. I want to go ahead and debunk a lot of this mess that I see out there, because it's uncalled for. I mean, it's uncalled for. I've seen all the craziest Jade Helm conspiracies out there that you can possibly think of. So let's go down a logical path of what we should really be looking at. Okay? Let's get started. All right. We're going to jump right in. This first slide is everything. If you want to talk about Jade Helm, this is where you start. I'll pause. If you want to talk about Jade Helm, this right here is where you start. The Army After Next. What is the Army After Next? In short, the Army After Next is something that was developed a long time ago. You can see DARP was a part of it, and many, many other organizations, and it has a lot of affiliations. Heavy tie-in to TRADOC. Pretty much, TRADOC is pretty much who runs it from the Army side of the house. Army After Next is the protocol for what's going to happen in the years 2015 to about 2028. Okay? We're going to go over, what I did is I wrote down a few pages that I'm not going to go through this whole document. I'm going to leave links for everything so that you can get the links yourself. It's out there on the internet. Some of this stuff is just buried in old archives. You got to pull it out. That's what I did. So I'm going to show you, some of these pages here. We'll go through just to look at a few of them. Let's scroll down here. We'll start with the first one I have actually listed here is page 7. I'm sorry if you don't like my style of doing this. I could do this, a way that I would just edit it all, and I didn't want to get into all that. I figured if you got an hour to sit down, hey, just take this hour to listen to me. That's what I really want the most, is for you to listen to me and to hear what I'm saying and to understand what kind of person I am, the kind of person that's giving you this information. First page, page 7. The Army After Next. This document that you're looking at, I'm sorry, I got to go all the way back up to page 1. This document that you're looking at was done in 1996. It was updated in 1997. We're going to go down to page 7, and the first thing that you're going to notice on page 7 is going to catch your attention. Build on U.S. supremacy in 2016 in business related to information technology, space and exosphere, civil aviation, transmodal shipment, directed energy, biopharmacotechnology, microelectrical mechanical systems, MEMS. This information is really heavy information. You can only look at this if you're really ready to look at it. This is what I'm pretty much telling you. This document was drafted in 1996. In 1996, they already had a game plan for what they were going to do for 2016. If you go over this document, this Army After Next document, and if you type in the term 2016, you will get 10 entries. Okay? So, this is what I'm telling you. This was no accident. Everything that you see going on now has been planned for many, many years. It's been talked about in many, many conferences in very, very, very great detail, and you're going to see a lot of it in this video. Read some of the notes that are here too as I'm flipping through. Commerce will outpace DoD in capacity, rate of change. Army After Next must follow that lead, help shape outcomes. Do you understand the impact of just something like that right there? This was written in 1996. In 1996, they already knew that we would be where we are financially today. Look what just happened over the weekend with the markets. The markets just completely started melting down. They're trying to be calm about it, but come on. 530-point loss one day on Friday, only to wake up Monday to the market being down 1,100 at opening, closing it, I believe, close to 700 below. Oh, man. That's crazy. We're experiencing the meltdown. China's devalued their currency 3 times. Back to back. We're experiencing a meltdown. This meltdown, this is also a mechanism known as financial warfare. Is China manipulating the markets? Yes, they are. Are the United States manipulating the markets? Yes, we are. We're all manipulating the markets, and these lies are starting not to match up now. That's what you're seeing. Let's just keep it short and sweet. So, the key of knowing, the key thing to understand is in 1996, they knew this would happen. Okay? You're going to get more proof and evidence of that coming up here shortly. But if we go through this document, I'm just going to click down a few times. I'm not going to zoom all the way in on all of them and stuff like that. I'm going to leave this document here for you, but I'm just going to show you that yes, there are definitely, 2016 was talked about in 1996. And it's by no accident, and you'll see why in a second. There's all of this information is so detailed. There's no way that you can't understand. Look, in 1996, they already knew about computers on the soldiers, and they already knew about these things back in 1996. All right, we're gonna go up here now and go to a couple pages. I have 23 in my list. I want to get you there. There you go. All right, let's see what's going on 23 that I wanted to show you. Okay, I believe it was just something probably dealing with the aircraft that they're using during that time frame. Let me see here. Okay, it was probably something just pointing towards this towards the 2016 here. I really want to clamp down on that and let you guys know a 1996 document is loaded with details from 2016. So let's go to page 26. That's what I have next on my list. Again, I apologize for the slow nature of how I'm doing this, but this needs to be done this way because I just simply can't write down an outline and then go over it and then edit it all professionally. I don't have time for that. I can just write down my notes and then walk you through it as I walk through it. So I apologize for the slow nature of it. Okay, what I wanted you to see on page 26 is in 1996, they already had plans for anti-trauma bioengineering. This is a way, let's zoom into that. This is worth zooming into. All right. Now this anti-trauma bioengineering, this is pretty much a way for them to be able to help soldiers on the field that would sustain any kind of injuries or anything like that. They wouldn't have to worry about really sustaining those injuries because they would already have something bioengineered at the cellular level to prevent any kind of injuries or prevent irreversible cellular injury and restore homeostasis. So, at the end of the day, what this is pretty much saying is in 1996 they already had a plan and a program for $50 million over 5 years using special agreements authority to be able to go ahead and give us some us the soldiers, anti-trauma bioengineering, meaning to create us into super soldiers. This is written down, it's in front of your face right here, right now. This was done in 1996 and this is talking about 2016. Let's keep going. This is called the Army After Next document, just in case you're thinking about it right now, like, oh man, this is good. What document is this? This is Army After Next. This is what Jade Helm is really all about. Jade Helm is just nothing but a precursor to kick off the biggest exercise ever known to mankind, and that's called Army After Next. Also Capstone, there's several names for it, but it all points to a transitioning period of time where we will be facing an enemy that we will be talking about shortly. 29, this what page that is here in this PDF. You'll see the electric combat vehicle. These are, of course, crude drawings. I'm sure the combat vehicle doesn't actually look like this. If it does, we're in trouble. But you can see the size in comparison to a tank. And it's just important to note that electric combat vehicles were talked about back in 1996. There's something that they definitely want to implement, especially for their airborne division, their medical division, stuff like that. So it's something that could, help out a lot. Let's see here. Let's keep going to page 30. Okay, page 30. Page 30, here you go. Where will the Army get the money? Approach B. Commercial tracks lack the speed and maneuverability Army seeks, and commercial wills have failed all Army evaluations. So the Army is faced with several questions with how they will, I'm just going to sum all of this up because, you see over here it talks about non-traditional suppliers like Deere and Caterpillar. The Army pretty much is trying to figure out, and they've done it at this point. This was done in 1996, but they've already managed to do it. They wanted to figure out, how do we fund everything that's going on? Then they came up with a brilliant idea, suggesting an acquisition reform initiative to invite industrial participation in the determination of requirements for Army After Next combat vehicles. What they're pretty much saying is, listen, we'll create a process of inclusion for commercial people like Deere and Caterpillar, invite them into our little government circle, all offer up a little bit of security, a little bit of money, but you get a good working basis, a good working relationship, and that's the way that you get your parts built. All right, and that's the way that you get loyalty, that they'll continually build your parts at your speed. So let's go to the next page. I want to show you guys something that was also talked about in 1996. Let's get that out of there. In 1996, what was talked about is something called MEMS. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and zoom in real quick on a key part of this that we can read. It says this: beyond fuel cells lie very small engines, microelectric mechanical systems, MEMS, that could furnish the antitheses of lithium batteries, very small, light, cheap, innocuous sources of mechanical and electrical energy. Back then, they already knew that what we're using here, lithium, was not ideal. It wasn't ideal because of expensive, dangerous, heavy, and difficult to dispose of. Okay, so it's funny that we all have lithium batteries, and back in 1996 they knew that lithium batteries wouldn't work for them. But everything's run off of lithium batteries now. Here's a turbo generator right here. Something I've never seen in person, so I can't ever say that I've seen anything like this, but it was obviously discussed. Here's what it does and all that good stuff. I do not understand all of this stuff. I'm not going to act like I do. So somebody out there that understands this can go a little bit further with it. I can get into watts and voltage and stuff like that, but it doesn't make any sense for me to. But what's important to know is this is lightweight. It can be taken with you. It's a cube, 7,600 watt hours with butane fuel. So at the end of the day, they've figured out how to make a very powerful generator. That's well, not very powerful, but powerful enough to handle the things that you would need to handle, especially any kind of LED kind of things, or anything dealing with that. A soldier would be able to handle that for many, many, many hours. And that's fuel cells that they were working back on in 1996, all for 2016. I've already showed you there's there's 10 2016 references in this document alone. Let's keep moving. Like I said, I'll make sure I leave a nice list here below so that you guys can be able to, look up this information yourself, download this. I still feel I'm doing this and I'm feeling nervous while doing it. It's not a very easy thing for me to do because this information I know I've searched high and low. I've been watching for a long time to see if anybody would talk about it, and it has not materialized. So I know that once the public gets a hold of this, I can already see where it will go. And I'm not even done yet. So this is the Army After Next document. Back in 1996, they were also discussing drones called unmanned aerial vehicles. Small aerial vehicles for RSTA ought to be integral to every tactical team. So what they're pretty much saying is this: they want drones everywhere. They knew this back in 1996 that they wanted drones with every tactical team that goes out. See that little vehicle right there? There you go. And do you see the MEMS right here again? Okay, so they're serious about this energy source that they want to use, and they're serious about the level of how many drones they want to actually use. They should be integral to every tactical team. So, with that being said, if they knew that back in 1996, and if you're like me and you knew that they knew stuff like this, like I said, I've sat in quite a lot of these conversations. Let me just tell you what I did in the VTC. First of all, in the VTC, I was the operator of the VTC. With us being the headquarters site, what I would do is I would hook up with all the different installations. I'd go in the back office, turn the key to the secure equipment that we had. We'd link in securely, go out there, make sure I'm taking care of the cameras and also the command, the control station for switching back and forth between the different facilities that we're linked into. So whenever it came to slideshow presentations being put up or anything like that, I was in charge of making sure those cameras were all set up and, getting them into whatever view that the general needed them for whoever needed to see it. With that being said, I of course read a lot of that information and I understood a lot of that information back then. I don't know why I understood it because these are generals talking to each other in this kind of terminology, but I was smart enough to be able to catch a decent idea of what they were talking about. And I remember hearing the year 2016 back then and 2015 back then and thinking to myself, wow, these guys are pretty super prepared. And this is in like, I believe about 2002 or 3. Excuse me. So these guys are extra, prepared, and little did I know back then is they had been preparing this for multiple years before I was even in the scene. I didn't go in until 2000, and the first initial documents on Army After Next were drafted in 1996. So that's what we're looking at in this one document. I have one more slide. That was the drones right there. Now this is all from 1996, guys. You would think that this was made yesterday. No, this is just my proof to you of how far ahead the military is. I won't get into this. I'll let you guys look over this too. I'm sure people are going to be ripping to go ahead and get this document out and, to do their own YouTubes on it and stuff. All I ask is you just give me a little bit of credit. Just say that you heard from this guy called, Sincere, at www.whoissincere.com, Twitter, Sincere Speaks, and he came up with a good YouTube and you just wanted to expound off of that YouTube. Please give me a little bit of credit. I've worked really hard to try to get this to you guys. Here again, like I said, I said this earlier actually as I was going over the 2016s. They want to add computers with the soldiers. This is a long-standing desire. It's actually been done already. They already have the tactical system necessary. It's incorporated with Google Glass, and it's highly effective. And if you go into any of the Army literature as far as their technology and their upgrades, within the last, I believe, maybe 5 years or so, they even have the infrared technology where they can see through the walls now. So these guys are very well equipped, and this was all planned back in 1996. Okay. This document, again, let's take it to the top so you guys can get one more look at what it is. This is the Army After Next, today's Army, Force 21, and then AAN. So it's showing you the stages of progression to the Army After Next. And here again, it's clear as day, it's 2016. So it's showing you where it wanted to be in 20 years. Now, coincidentally, I know I can probably get a few people out there that are going to say, man, you're 40 minutes into talking about this, and this is all you got so far is this stupid document from 1996 that talked about what they were supposed to do in 2016. Well, isn't that what they're supposed to do anyway? Isn't that what they're supposed to do, plan and get ready ahead of time in case there's a problem? I would say that's a great argument, an excellent argument. However, let's go to our next document. Okay, our next two documents are going to show, and I'm not going to spend much time talking about this one, but our next document is going to show us literally why what's happening is what's happening, okay? This has been deliberately held from us, from our media. This is something that we could have prevented this a long time ago. We could have been truthful about it a long time ago before I did this video, to be honest with you. Okay, this document you're seeing is called the People's Liberation Army After Next. Let's think about that. Who is the PLA, the People's Liberation Army? Oh, that's the army from China. Okay. Army After Next. What soldiers are those? Oh, those are the soldiers that we're talking about training for the future, for 2016. Well, who are we training them for? I think we can find it all in this one title, People's Liberation Army After Next. This document was done in 2000. This document was done for the Department of Defense, I believe it was. Department of the Army, I'm sorry. But it doesn't reflect the views and all of that stuff. It was done by multiple authors. What it does is it gives a breakdown of what's happening in the Asian area, particularly with China. It is a very in-depth analysis of China and what their goals and their strategies are for the future. While I won't go all the way through this, I will hit a key section in here that I want to, before I even scroll down into this, I want to say something. What you're about to learn is something that our media doesn't talk about. It's something that the Democrats and the Republicans don't talk about. It's worth you listening this far along in this video for over 40 minutes now to hear. Okay? I'm going to show you the mass deception that's happening on a global scale as far as weapons movement and our foreknowledge of this, even all the way back to 2000. Okay, and you have to remember that these intelligent, highly intelligent writers that wrote this document, these authors of this document, they know this information and they know this knowledge, and these people are still alive too. So, when you have a lot of people out here that can write documents like this and have this information, have this knowledge, why aren't they the people that are the analysts, the military analysts on these news agencies and these talk shows, and especially broke down Fox and all the broke news looking people that they bring on there, especially from the other side. They make sure they always look broke. But why aren't these people there? So let me show you something here. Okay, when you see what you're about to see, I want you to understand why World War III is going to happen in America. It's very important to understand what you're seeing going on with Israel and Iran. There's a reason why we have a double standard with Israel. There's a reason why Israel is on the fence. And let's go down some more higher. Okay. In addition to indigenous S&T developments, China has greatly increased its imports of military technology and know-how. According to research done by Richard Fisher, Bates Gill, that's like a Bill Gates backwards name, and Taeho Kim and others, China has acquired a broad array of defense technologies from foreign sources, primarily Russia, but also Israel and Western Europe, including cruise missiles, reconnaissance satellites, electronic intelligence, medium-range surface-to-air missiles, fighter aircraft, combat radar and other avionics, air-to-air missiles, and precision-guided munitions, submarines. What else? What we just read right there alone. Okay? What we just read right there alone is the key to understanding why we have the relations that we have with Israel in present times, not based off of the past, present times. This is not talked about by any news outlet. I don't understand why. If Israel has been giving China and Russia weapons for many, many years, and they've all been dealing in weapons together for many, many years, why are we broken? I'm just be honest with you. Why are we brokering any kind of peace deal with someone that's supplying the very people that say they want to end our country and want to end our dollar and therefore take away our way of life? Not to say our way of life is the greatest way of life and that we should have all inclusive access to all the goods and spoils of the world. But supposedly our ally, Israel, our ally, has been funding Russia and China. And this has been known about for a long time, and they've been giving them not a little bit of weaponry, a lot of weaponry. Now, I'll probably get a lot of people that'll say, well, I hear what you're saying. You found Israel in a document, and you think that's just going to make me understand that, Israel's, behind this, dealing with Russia and dealing with China, and they're, you're just trying to put them in the center of it. I'm going to get a lot of rhetoric, a lot of criticism. I understand that. I get it. I definitely understand it. I definitely get it. This is what I say to that. Let's look at how many times Israel is in this document. Israel is in this document a convenient number of 33 times. 33 times in this document. Now, this, if I'm not mistaken, this says the People's Liberation Army after next. Is it just coincidental that Israel is in this document 33 times? I'll let you be the deciding factor of that. Everywhere that you go, here we go. In addition, Israel reportedly has supplied China with technology related to a jet-powered drone which could conceivably be adapted to attack. So, Israel's supplying China with drones. Does that sound like breaking news to you? Because it should. Except the breaking news is 15 years old. Going on 16 years old. This is what I'm talking about as far as misinformation through mass media. The media does not have your concerns at heart. They do not care. They only care about sensationalism, and they care about their bottom line. If they can make you click on something or make you watch something a little bit longer for their ratings, then they're doing their job. Instead of telling you the truth, because intellectual people that aren't being controlled enjoy the truth a little bit more. It makes them happy because it brings resolve. There's resolution to things. So, without going too far off into a little, rant there, this is what's going on. 33 times in the People's Liberation Army after next document, 33 times Israel is listed. Israel and Russia reportedly have supplied electronic intelligence equipment to the People's Liberation Army, which is being incorporated into special missionized aircraft. Israel and Russia are supplying China. Isn't that excellent? Doesn't that make you feel fuzzy? So we keep hearing Russia and China, Russia and China, Russia and China, and Israel is being looked at as if it's only dealing with the Middle East. No, Israel is not only dealing with the Middle East. They're literally funding and have built up the war that's about to come to the doorstep of the United States. So, just recently I went and saw Ted Cruz because I just wanted to ask a presidential candidate about Black Lives Matter. and I didn't ask him that. I ended up asking him about the Million Man March at Louis Farrakhan coming to Washington, D.C. on October 10th. And when I went there to ask him a question, well, you know what? I don't even want to get off into that tangent. I'm not even going to go that route right now because I'll tell you something. It's easy to slip slip off while I'm doing this information. So I'm going to keep myself on my actual notepad right here, and I'll share a link down low so you can see the question that I asked Ted Cruz, and you can see how that incorporates into some of this information that you're going to be learning about. There's misinformation going on all around us. A lot of misinformation, a lot of politicized answers, a lot of look over there, look at that, look at this, this is why. And some of these same people, even some of these same politicians that are married to people, are in the community of intelligence that understands what's happening behind closed doors with Israel, Russia, and China. Some of these same people that smile at us every day and tell us, we're going to make America great again. We're going to get jobs back. We're going to have security. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Blah, blah, blah. Really, in 1996, they already knew that in 2016, we're going to go to war. So, do you think that the financial crisis is engineered? Or do you think it's an accident? Or do you think they just magically had the foresight of understanding in 1996 that in 2016 things were just going to come to a halt? I think it's a lot deeper than that. I think it's a lot deeper than what I can even offer you in this video. I'm just going to be honest with you. More Israel information. Everywhere you look in this document, it's about Israel. And I'm seeing Western Europe in here quite a few times too. But Russia, Israel, Western Europe are providing radar and avionics to a number of Chinese development combat aircraft programs. So, our ally is listed all through here. Our government knows what Israel is doing. They have not made any attempts to stop Israel from supplying China with weaponry that can possibly kill us. They have not stopped Israel from working with Russia and helping China to develop capabilities that can kill Americans. So, in this video that you're watching, you're going to get a lot of truths. And a lot of the truths that you get are going to be things that you've heard for the first time that you could do whole subject matters on, just to be honest with you. It's something that there's so much information that you've been given that's been wrong that you have to kind of dump it out of your head, come back to the drawing board and start here. And then you'll be in the right direction. So let's read here. The states most likely to use weapons of mass destruction are not the great powers who stand to lose a great deal in any war, but rather those countries or regimes for whom defeat can mean destruction or collapse. Israel, North Korea, Iraq, Pakistan, and so forth, to which one could add Taiwan and South Korea. Were they nuclear powers? RMA, however, may render nuclear explosions obsolete given the kind of damage that new-style conventional weapons can do. New-style conventional weapons like what hit China? Is that what they mean? Like the warning that hit China twice? Those kind of new-style weapons that could completely render nuclear weapons obsolete. So, what are we talking about right now? We've been lied to so much that 15, 20 years ago, they were already knee-deep in understanding how this was going to play out in 2016. They already understood about the nuclear weapons. They understood what economies and what countries, would be nuclear powers that would be the first to set off a nuclear device. I think it's funny that they listed Israel and North Korea first. Israel and North Korea are listed together with Iraq and Pakistan. How often do you see Israel being listed with the terrorist regimes? So, or where the terrorist regimes reside at, and the I can't say the word right now, but for where the people are dictators, pretty much of their area. So, what are we talking about when we say that Israel is our friend? How much of a friend are they? If they're a friend, North Korea should be our friend too. We should all just go hang out and get some ice cream together. So, I'm showing you information to let you know that it's time to wake up, people. It's time for us to have some unity, because Jade Helm is only half. It's only half the battle. Trust me, I've only shown you 2 documents. I have another document that I'm going to show you in closing to this video. This is only going to be, I'm going to do another video because this is an hour long. This is going to be part 1. And I'll go over more in part 2, but let's just go into this last thing that I have for you. So what did we go over? We went over the Army After Next. We started in 1996, and it showed us how in 2016 things are going to be different. We went to the People's Liberation Army After Next, which was done by a group of writers. It's very, very extensively long, I think like 300 pages or something like that. And that was done in 2000. It is a complete breakdown of the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, and all of the capabilities that they have. I would definitely recommend to read this as well as the previous document. The third document that we're going to go over is something that was actually released a little bit more recently, and that is called the Army Capstone Concept. Now, and if any of you know what a capstone is, a capstone is the top of a pyramid. Okay, so this is the operational adaptability, operating under conditions of uncertainty and complexity in an era of persistent conflict. What are the years? From 2016 to 2028. This was put out by your president in 2009. Okay, do you see what that is? Freedom Fortress, does that look familiar to you? Okay, Freedom Fortress is where I worked at. It's Fort Monroe, this TRADOC. This TRADOC headquarters. This is this symbol that I wore on my beret and my uniforms for many years. That's actually the symbol that's also on that the coin that I showed you a little bit earlier up in here. So, you know, this is all together. Just to let you know, this Army Capstone Concept is Army After Next. Okay? This is Army After Next. Be very clear about this. If we go through this document, let's just go, first of all, in opening this document up, this document just breaks down everything that the Army After Next breaks down. It says everything that the Army After Next says, except for one key thing, and I'm going to hone in on it, and I'm going to show you. It's when the document first opens on page 9, who does it open with? President Barack Obama, United States Naval Academy, 22 May 2009. In the 21st century, we do not have the luxury of deciding which challenges to prepare for and which to ignore. We must overcome the full spectrum of threats, the conventional and the unconventional, the nation state and the terrorist network, the spread of deadly technologies and the spread of hateful ideologies, 18th century style piracy and 21st century style cyber threats. So, it opens up with Obama talking about what our threats are of the future. The same threats as Army After Next. You do the research, you go through and read, it's the same exact thing. The only difference with this is the Army Capstone concept is it'll tell you everything that's needed that we have to use to fight our enemy in the future. And it's just pretty much a summary of the Army After Next. Give you everything that we need for the next few to fight our enemy. One key thing that you won't find in this document that you will find in the People's Liberation Army After Next and the Army After Next original DARPA document from 1996 is this word that I'm going to type in right here. China. This has no mention of China. Now, you may say, well, why did you point that out? That proves that we're not going to war with China. No, it doesn't. It proves the exact opposite. Everything that you read in this Army Capstone concept is going to point at everything that you will read from the Army After Next manual here. Mark my words on it, and the People's Liberation Army and some of the concepts that you'll find in there. Is it just coincidental that we would get to Obama's term in history where this is all about to kick off underneath his presidency and we lose all mention of China? I don't think that's coincidental. I think that speaks to what I was speaking of earlier. Misinformation. Misinformation has misguided the people, and that's what's made this an unfair situation. So, this is the Army Capstone concept. I'll make sure I'll leave a link for that too. In the next video coming up, I have a big link that I'm going to leave here for you. It's for the Army and Joint Operations. This is, let me see here if I can pull him up. Sorry about that. There you go. This is, that's Brigadier General David A. Fastabend. He was also at Fort Monroe. I didn't actually, I don't recall actually working directly with him while he was at Fort Monroe. Just to be honest, I don't think I was in the VTC any longer. But he was my general while I was at Fort Monroe, but I don't have the luxury of really knowing him personally. He does speak very eloquently on the issues of here it's called the Armies. Okay, this is a key giveaway too. This was published in 2005. This is called the Army's Future Force Capstone Concept. Okay, 2015 to 2024. This is 2016 to 2028, the Army Capstone Concept. This is Future Force Capstone Concept. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing, people. Army After Next, all the same thing. They have different names for this time period of 2015, really 2016 now, 2016 and beyond. This has all been planned. So I'll be talking about this in the upcoming video. Make sure you stay tuned. I have a lot more information. Keep walking with me down this path because there is a lot more to discuss. And I hope that you've liked what you've heard so far. Drop me a message at whoissincere.com. Let me know if you've liked it. If you have liked it, I have a link below that you know, if you want to learn marketing like I've learned over the years to make a few dollars, feel free. Learn some marketing. It's $25. It'll definitely, that little system down there below will definitely help you make an extra couple hundred bucks a week. It helps me. As far as anything else, just stay tuned for my part 2. I have a lot more to talk about. We're going to go more into how Jade Helm ties into Army After Next and what it means as far as the international phase and what it means as far as domestic policy. I have the answers to that, and I want you to hear. I'll make sure you tune into part 2. Thanks a lot for listening.